Hello, brothers and sisters around the world. Thank you so much for joining Planet Bhakti. And this is your host, RJ, once again bringing you some amazing experiences of our Shirdi's Sai Baba. Now, I don't know if you have watched the previous episode, but if you haven't, I strongly suggest you check it out. That was the live experience that happened here in the USA, and just proving that Baba is still with us. Now, that was the modern time Sai Baba's experience. But then I thought that why not we check out the experiences that was that was happening when Baba was with us right here on this planet Earth, and how I mean best we can describe that without this particular book. It is called Live Experiences of Tarkhad Family with Shirdi Sai Baba, and the author of this particular book is called Sri Virendra Jyotindra Tarkhad. He has written this book, and if you are familiar with Sri Sai Satcharitra, there is a book called Sri Sai Satcharitra. If you haven't, I strongly suggest. Of course, if you are a Baba's devotee, you would know. But just in case you haven't, I strongly suggest you check it out. It is available in various languages. I'm just showing you the picture in English, but I'm pretty sure it is available in pretty much all the languages all over the India. So you shouldn't have any difficulty in finding one, or even you can find it online or things like that. However, so the reason I'm bringing this book up is that Sri Sai Charitra, it describes all Baba's life experiences by when Baba was there. Uh, Basically, we call it Dehadari, meaning in a human form. Now, what Baba's Sai Satcharitra's book describes is there are different chapters, and one of the chapters called chapter 9, there is a reference to a lady, Tarkhad lady, basically, Mrs. Tarkhad. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the book we are talking about is written by none other than the grandson of this Mrs. Tarkhad, and there are some amazing experiences that Mr. Tarkhad and Mrs. Tarkhad had from Baba, and then they were narrated to their son, and their son also got experiences, and then to his grandson, who obviously had to listen and got all this information from his father. So, this book was written to capture those experiences when they actually experience staying and living with Baba. So, I think this is going to be an amazing experience. Of course, the book is a longer book. We are not going to finish the book in this particular one video. So, we'll start with one of the chapters, introduction and chapter, and then we'll go in different next videos. We'll finish the book with different chapters. So, just to give you an idea, so this is Mrs. Tarkad, as you can see on the screen, and that is author's grandmother. And then, of course, here is Mr. Ramchandra Tarkad, who is author's grandfather. And then, so Mrs. and Mr. Tarkad's son is Jyotindra Tarkad, Jyotindra Ramchandra Tarkad. He is author's father. So the ultimately, this is the author, Sri Virendra Jyotindra Tarkar, who has written this book after hearing from his father about how Sai Baba's experiences were. And I'm not going to read the book as such, because that would be a boring thing, I would say. Although I will read a few things from the book as it is narrated, or at least it is in some cases it will make sense. But in general, I'll try to give you some commentary or color around the description that is given in the book. So the way the book starts is that obviously people were asking Mr. Virendra here, as you can see on the screen. He actually worked as an engineer. He studied as an engineer, and he worked, and he then got retired. But then he was sharing his experiences, and he would narrate. People would say, can you tell us how was Baba's experience with your father, because his father experienced Baba alive. So obviously there was a lot of curious people like us, devotees, and he would narrate. And then what would happen is people would start touching his feet, doing pranam, and trying to take blessings from this Mr. Virendra Tarkar. That was little odd for him. He's a family man. He didn't have any real experiences of Baba, and he's just a he was feeling little awkward, let's put it that way. And then he decided that why not I put together all these experiences in a book rather than just narrating it in different places. People would invite him to different places to say, hey, can you tell us about these experiences. So let's start with chapter 1. And as you can see, basically I have put together these the grandmother, grandfather, the father, and the author all together here. And this is all about our Sai Baba. So, and this is the book Live Experiences of the Tarkat Family with Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi. So the introduction part is nothing but basically this is why he decided to to write this book. And I'm not going to go too much into that. That there are a few details that is given as an introduction. But let's start with the first chapter, which is called First Meeting with Lord Sai. Now, this is really interesting, and I'm sure we all will enjoy this particular experience. So, it starts with Om Sri Sai Nathai Namaha. And he said these incidents had taken place on a summer day. Jyotindra had just had his lunch in an Irani restaurant near Metro Cinema. Now, guys, please understand this whole description is taking us back to almost late 1800s, I would say, sometimes around late 1800s to early 1900. So we are going back more than 100 years. So please keep in mind some of the narration and some of the words and such things might be a little bit of our earlier times, and even description and the location and things like that might be slightly of that time. So that's what it is. Now, just to get an understanding, so Tarkad family, so Mr. The grandfather, Mr. Tarkad, he actually, I would say, let's say they are a well-to-do family, very well known in the society, very well connected on all those kind of things. And in those days, studying at a, in living in Bombay and in a good place and all that, obviously they were quite good. Now, so Jyotindra, who is nothing but Mr. Our Virendra's father, so the not the grandfather I'm talking, the father. So what happened is he was studying, and for lunch he would go to a nearby restaurant because of, as I said, the family was good enough financially. They would give him some, pocket money. So he was studying at St. Xavier's School. Obviously, as you can see now, studying at this kind of British school would require some, it's like a private school, right? So you would have to spend money. So anyway, so the point is they were able to afford it. Now, uh, Mr. Jyotindra Tarkad was a he was a student. He would go to this particular restaurant for lunch and then go back to school after lunchtime is over. Now one day, so this is what the book says now. That day, while crossing the road, one fakir meaning the saint, like our Baba's form, you can say. Fakir, dressed in a white robe, accosted him and begged for alms, meaning begged, like, hey, give me some money. Jyotendra took out a coin of 1 paisa. Now, as I said, it is we are going back about 100 years. So paisa, it's not it's so paisa meaning ana. I would say. I think he is trying to say here. And ana was like 6 cents together. That is the Indian denomination in those days, I believe. So that was not like 1 penny, but it is like 6 times of it, which is quite quite good. So he took out a coin, a copper coin it was, and with a hole in the center. So that's how it used to be. Our coins were like that. And then he took it and offered the to that fakir, to that Baba, and he started going. And the Baba stopped him and said, "Hey," he said, this coin is of 1894. Now he couldn't understand the meaning behind it, but he just mentioned that, hey, this is 1894 coin. And in those days, obviously, people would offer one penny, you can say, which was like 1/6 of the amount that he gave. So obviously, he was from a good family. He could afford it, and he used to get four of those for lunch money, and he wouldn't have spent all, so he had it. So he basically said okay, and then he kind of kept on going. So our author's father had this incident. Now keep this in mind, because we have to have a reference to this. And he went away. He obviously, if you think there are a lot of people on the road we will meet, and some of these people, this will be like a, this baba would ask for something, and we would give a dollar, I mean a rupee, dollar, whatever it is, to them, and we keep going. We don't pay attention to them, like who is this person, and is this a memorable experience for me or not. We just take it for granted, we take it casually. Okay, I had to give some, I had some, I gave it, and keep going. Now what happens next is very interesting. So this is one thing that happens, that he gave this pie to this fakir, or this baba. And pretty much forgot. And at the while he was leaving, fakir mentioned, he laughed and he said, Allah bala karega, I mean God will, give blessings to you. And he kept on moving. Both went on their own, and that's about it. Now, what happened after that is he pretty much forgot this incident of his. Now let's switch the scenario. At home, Jyotindra has, they had two elder brothers, Satyendra and Ravindra, and they both are studying in medicine, like medical college. So that family is in medicines, and they're doctors and all that. uh, but even though the reason we are saying this is, even though the family has so many doctors, he is saying, their own mother, and that's where now we are connecting the dots back. Okay, so sorry, the mother had a severe headache, and none of the doctors, even though they are part of family, could help her. So she would try to, get some medicine, typical medicine, and she would try some Ayurvedic medicine. Nothing helps, and it was severe. So she basically got a little bit, hesitant. Like what are the other options? Now they had a maid coming to work at home. She suggested to obviously our author's grandmother, who had all this headache issue, that there is a peer meaning is like a Muslim's priest. And in those days in Bombay, obviously there are all religion, people from all religion are there, even those days or today, right? So some peer is there, some priest is there who can help her. Now, mind well, I told you that the grandfather was very well known person in the society, and they were Hindu, of course. It would have been a disaster to tell him that we want to go and see a Muslim priest. But she was determined, because she was fed up with her headache. And what she thought of doing is that she thought, out of her three sons, Jyotindra was rather daredevil. Let's say that, right? He would take some risk. So she told him that, what can we do to go and meet this the spear, this Muslim priest? So he obviously, he was thinking about different options, and then they finalized, like, he bought a burqa, which is like a covering. The Muslim ladies, if you have seen, they cover from head to toe. They are supposed to cover their body, and that would be the best way to go and meet. Nobody would know who actually came. So no, it's not like some Hindu lady came versus somebody else. And that kind of made sense. So they took that adventurous visit to this peer. They met. He gave some medicine. Unfortunately, what happened is that medicine in fact increased the headache to her. So instead of getting some help, some elevation about this particular pain, she was rather getting severe pain now. That was not what she wanted. So they went ahead again and checked again. Then this peer, this Muslim priest, suggested that, I have a brother in Shirdi. I think the cure of your problem is not with me. Only he can help you. Now, Shirdi was not a known place at all in those days. And 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 when they heard, this grand mother of our son Jyotindra, who was that adventurous person, When they heard where is Shirdi, nobody knew even what is Shirdi, how to go there, who is this Sai Baba, nothing. But as we said, Mr. Jyotindra was not, the person who would take no or just leave things as it is. So he inquired. Remember, he used to go to that Irani restaurant. Irani meaning there are some Muslim relations. People would be coming over there and all that. So he asked around there, like, where is Shirdi? How to go there? And what he found is that, okay, it is in, certain village. Shirdi is a village in those days. I mean, obviously it wasn't known that much. Nowadays it's a totally different story. So it is part of Ahmednagar district, and to go there, you have to go by train up to, and train was not everywhere though. Again, so there is a Kopargaon is another place, and you have to go via Manmad. There is a train that will take you to Kopargaon. From Kopargaon, now you have to take a horse cart, like some cart, a bull cart, something, to go to Shirdi, which is almost 9 kilometers from this Kopargaon. And this is the information he collected, and he came back, told our mother that this is the only way we can go if we need to go, and it would be almost 3 days it would take if we really want to go and, I mean, to make this journey. But again, she was so much trying to find a cure, and after taking these words, said, okay, we have to go, and see what this Pierce brother, somebody called Sai, can help. That's all they knew about. I mean, CD Sai Baba was not at all known in those days, again, to that extent. So again, Jyotindra comes to rescue to plan this whole trip. They made it possible somehow or the other, and went to see Sai Baba. They reached Shirdi, and this is like, if I had a music on the background, this is like tan tan, right? Like now we are in Shirdi. They don't know what is going to happen, but we are now going to have the first experience with Sai Baba. So now let's see what happens. So one Friday evening, I'll just back up a little bit. One Friday evening, both the mother and son left for Shirdi. On Saturday morning, they were in Shirdi. They had made all the inquiry. After they freshened up and all that, they reached Dwarka Mai, which is the place where Shirdi Sai Baba used to sit. To meet Sri Sai Baba, they saw Sai Baba. Sai Baba was sitting in front of the sacred Duni, that fireplace Baba used to always keep lit. Baba was sitting right there, and he says, "My grandma," means the author says, "my grandma bowed in front of Baba and touched his feet." They looked at each other. And pay attention, guys. I'm trying to recreate this picture in my mind, and you can imagine, if you are in front of Sai Baba, what will be that feeling, right? So they looked at each other, Baba and grandmother. And what transpired between the two is this. Baba said to grandma, "Dear mother, you have come." You see, there is a period. You have come, meaning you have arrived. This is like your destination. "My brother from Bandra has guided you to me. Please sit down." "Oh mother, you have very severe headache, isn't it?" Then Sai Baba dipped his 5 fingers in the pan of udi, that sacred, ash that he used to keep from that fireplace, the duni. And let me stop for a minute. See, if you paid attention, all the grandma did so far is she came and touched Baba's feet. That's all. She hasn't spoken anything. She hasn't done anything. She just looked at each other. So Baba was sitting. She touched his feet, and then that's it. And then suddenly Baba said all these things without without this grandma's uttering even a single word. So this experience itself, we can imagine what would, if you were in place of this, and if somebody says why you came, what happened, who sent you, you would be like flabbergasted. You would be like, What is all this about?" But let's see what happened. Then now, and he said that you have a severe headache. That's why you came, right? So this is all that. And then, without even asking, Sai Baba dipped his five fingers in that udi, which is the Chakradash, and hit the forehead of my grandma. This is how they narrate in the book. It says, hit the forehead of my grandma with that udi leaden hand. He held the forehead firmly in all the five fingers and said, "O mother, from now onwards, till your death, you will never get any pain in your head. This headache of yours has disappeared forever." So, this is what Baba did and said and did, actually, right? Without doing anything. It's amazing what Baba knew about all this, what he and he what assurance he is giving. Like, it is gone until your death. Think about it. Who in the world can assure you? You might get some medicine, but the medicine, the doctor might say, well, the effect of this medicine may stay for 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, maybe a day, a week, right? But I cannot guarantee whether you will never have a headache. Who in the world can give an assurance that says forever this headache is gone? So this is the power of our Sai Baba. Now, um, so as per the author, he says, I think two acts of Sai Baba made a complete transformation of my grandma. One, of course, the exchange of looks between them, that eye contact, and hitting the forehead with udi, leaden hand. I think that touch and the view, meaning, even, it is like when you look in somebody's eyes, right? As we say, eye is the window to our heart. So Sai Baba basically entered grandma's heart through just by looking at her, and on top of that, he gave such an experience, such a powerful touch to her, that I'm sure, I mean, think about Sai Baba touching your forehead. Can you believe it, right? It's amazing, what he would have experienced then. Now, so, obviously, this is the right explanation that the author is giving, that eye contact and hitting the forehead, that must have transformed her. Now, in fact, it was an order to that decrease to go away, that headache. My grandpa had never ever had such a powerful dose of medicine. What transformation she was experiencing, she only knew it better, of course. I mean, we cannot describe our pain, how you would be going through. But then she was feeling suddenly so fresh. She told my father Jyotindra, who was a child at that time with her, and she asked him to bow to Baba. My father was astonished to see all this. Number one, he was witnessing all this. His mother had never ordered him like that earlier. So obviously he thought. And then my father bowed to Baba and touched his feet. Now, let's pay attention in this next incident, or next narration. My father, after he touched his Baba's feet, he said, "Dear Bhau," Bhau means brother in Maharashtrian, because that's what Baba used to speak. So he said, "Dear Bhau," means my dear brother. He would call Bhau to everybody, I heard. "Have you not recognized me?" Now, see, this is another thing. It was the first incident with the mother, but he's asking Bhau, meaning the father of our author, "Have you recognized me?" Now, obviously, he has never visited Sai Baba, so how can he ask even to, "Do you recognize me?" That question is baffled him. Then he said, "Do you remember?" So first off, obviously, he said, "No, I can't." And then the Baba put his hand in the pocket of his kafni, that robe he used to wear, and took out the copper coin of 1 paisa. Remember, I told you to remember that incident. And he showed that coin to Jyotinda, author's father, and said, "Hey Bau, do you remember this copper coin dating back to 1894?" Now, that particular year, he gave a reference. I mean, it could be any coin. I mean, it's not the only coin that would be that was available for 1894. But he mentioned it when he met right after out of that outside the Irani restaurant when Jotindra was going for lunch. So he made that reference so that now he can relate back, and suddenly, Jotindra now recollects. He said, "Oh, that incident. That was at that time that he met on the road, and that fakir was asking for, and I gave him this paisa. That's it." But he mentioned about 1894. So he said, "Hey, Bao, the afternoon that fakir you had met was none other than me." This is what Baba told him. "And this is the one paisa coin you gave me. Now I'm returning it to you." Now, Baba has done so many times these kind of things, that he would ask people for some money and he would give money to somebody. People have never understood. And then the only conclusion is that Baba takes tries to balance out everybody's account, basically, right? If you're an accountant, there is some credit, there is some debit to that you need to take care of, and basically Baba takes care of all those pending things, so that he can eventually clear our karmas and help us out. So so again, we don't know why he asked for one paisa to Jotindra, and then afterward now he's returning it. And then he says, on top of that, he said, "Please take it back and preserve it very carefully. It will breed in multifold of praises, sorry, multifold of paisas for you." Meaning, you will become even more richer, right? So this is the way Baba used to treat even those days, and we can find in a lot of narrations and a lot of places that people have shown their experiences, that this is how he would do. So obviously now, the author continues. "Now, dear reader, devotees, you will surely agree with me that such a pleasant Sai darshan, which my grandma and father had, must be memorable. And then after that first divine Sai meeting, the Tarkat family decided to reckon Sai Baba as their guru, and they completely gave up themselves for his devotion. I'm not surprised. I mean, if this kind of experience you have, you forget the world. You forget the world. This is ultimate, and this is it. So the headache of my grandma had vanished forever. Her devotion towards God increased multifold. The one paisa coin, it is still in our house, and it is worshipped. We used to ask our father, so the author says, we used to ask our father what exactly used to happen after meeting Sai Baba. He said he used to state that the blissful sight in his eyes had an enormous attraction which would pull anyone towards him, and that Midas touch in his powerful hands could heal any deep wound. As you all know, that Sai Baba never equated himself to God and would always state that he is a messenger of God. However, my father used to say that the priest of Khandoba temple, which is a great devotee of Sai Baba, whose name a lot of people know, Mahalsapati Bhagat, had very appropriately named him. He said, "Ao Sai." This is how its whole thing started, right? When when Baba entered Shirdi, he went to this Kandoba temple, and Mahalsapati was the priest there, and he just saw somebody coming in kind of robe or just simple thing. And Sai, actually, the word they are saying that is. Uh, it means Sai in Sanskrit is Sakshat, mean actual, and E is for Ishwar. So Sakshat Ishwar means actual God is in front of them, and that's how he welcomed him. So that's how this whole thing started. Thus, from this point of view, Sai Baba means Sakshat Ishwar, as I said. I must say that what my father had experienced during his visits to Shirdi, of course, then they went multiple times to visit Shirdi, was something amazing. And any common man like him, after undergoing such a divine experiences, and such divine experiences, would come to only one conclusion, that Sai Baba possessed that supernatural godly power. It is hard to define this kind of thing. and obviously we would consider him as a god. I consider myself lucky to have been born in this blessed family and wish that Sai's blessings be with us for all the time to come. Om Shri Sai Nathaya Namah. So, my friends, my brothers and sisters around the world, I think this amazing experience I just wanted to recreate, uh, because obviously not only our author is blessed with being in this family, but I mean, he's sharing this experience such a beautiful way that we all can experience it, and we all can be part of that larger family. Basically, Baba, everybody is his family, and we should be considered. So, at the end, all I would say is let's say together, Ananta Koti Brahmanand Nayaka Raja Dhiraj Yogi Raj Parabrahma Shri Satchidanand Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki Jai. Now, friends, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so, because this is the way we can spread these words and help out somebody who is either having just a headache or any major issue. But Sai Baba is there and with us. He will always be there for our help. Om Sai Ram, Om Sai Ram, Om Sai Ram.